Hey, everybody. Welcome back again to Austin Sports Weekend with Austin the Man here, talking some college football. Before we get started, thanks again to SevereTV.com for setting us up here in studio. And thanks again for Autographs Plus, setting us up with some signed helmets, a little Debo Samuel, a little Peyton Manning there. We are just about to the end of the regular season of college football now. How about that? Boo.
Yeah,
Boo.
but good things have to end eventually.
Good things have to end. So what we're going to do, let's recap Week 12, talk about the top 15 plus a little Tennessee. And then we'll jump into our predictions for Week 13, which is the last regular season week of the year. Boo. But we do have to talk a little Tennessee.
And
Let's get it out of the way.
let's talk about that beat down in Knoxville.
Number 1, Georgia at Tennessee.
They did beat the crap out of us.
Now Tennessee got a touchdown on the very first play of the game,
But they
and then
didn't
got
really-
outscored 38-3 after that. Ew.
This tells me how far ahead Georgia is of Tennessee as a program.
Georgia, hey, congrats to Georgia. They tied the record for
Most SEC wins all time in a row.
in a row. Yeah, so
To
they
do it in this conference is
that's incredible, really. So first of all, congrats to Georgia. They are what we thought they were.
exactly 11-0 for the third straight season.
Which again in the SEC
Is pretty
is
solid.
Plus, going through the playoffs is nuts, really. But again, Tennessee is struggling. Tennessee has lost back-to-back games by 28 plus points for the first time since
Pruitt.
Pruitt was here. Yeah. So Tennessee's offense is not looking very, 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 very good right now. We have had a lot of injuries.
But I've also had questions about the coaches.
But we've
on
also
staff.
had some questions about the offense. Yeah, we're something's just
predictability.
Not right. We're predictability. You know,
No creativity. There's no sort of rhythm with the passing game. There's no rhythm with the running game. Plays aren't put together properly. They're not in a. There's not a rhythm or a set plays that you want to do. It just seems like scrambled.
They look like they're out of disarray a little bit. Now, could be they're the offensive coordinator from last year.
Alex Golesh
left. Went to who was it? South Florida.
Yeah,
He went to the South Florida Bulls.
got them on the cusp of a bowl game.
And I wasn't for sure if that would make that big of a difference, but honestly, I think
it made a huge.
Golesh not being there has made a pretty sizable difference in at least what the offense looks like. It doesn't look as fluid, doesn't look as fast, as
Because
crisp.
under Golesh, it was crisp, it was fast, it was fun, it was sleek.
Yeah, and now this year,
And under Housel, it looks like a bumpy.
It
looks like a bumpy road on the backside of a country road.
Again, this is Housel's first year being the OC, and I don't have full confidence.
Not really at all.
And what I've seen this year,
Tim Banks still has issues too.
Tim Banks still has some issues in the defense, but I don't know how much of that comes from the offense making them be on the field 50 minutes out of 60,
or the passing defense still being
or
suspect.
the passing defense. But there was there's a lot of injuries. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this pot here, this pot of Tennessee stew that we got going right now. But
Heupel's hearing it from the fans, so the fans really want him to improve.
I love Heupel. I think Heupel's a great coach. We've got how many wins? We've got 20-something wins over the past 3 years. First time we've done that since 2003, 2004. So first time in 20 years we've had this many wins in 3 years combined. So it's not the end of the world, but again, as Tennessee fans, we want the best for our team and our players, and I'm just not sure if our players are getting the best coaching.
So do you
that
think
they should be getting right now?
I'm going to have that one question answered right here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Heupel should change his entire coaching staff like the fans want?
I don't know if he should change every single coach, but I do question the direction of the offense. Something's got to be done. Either somebody else brought in or something changed. I think something just needs to be changed differently because it really. I mean, it went from a good solid 9.5 offense last year to a 3 this year. It's a huge drop. So somehow we got to figure out what's going there. But let's jump on into the rest of college football. We'll talk about Tennessee all day. We had Michigan at Maryland. Scary game for Michigan. The second game without
Jimmy Harbaugh.
They almost lost to Maryland. They won 31-24, but
It was closer than you wanted.
it was close. I mean, there could have been a play or two, and Maryland could have won the game.
Yep.
Or at least tied it up there at the end. They almost tied it up there at the end. So I'm not for sure what.
If Maryland didn't shoot themselves in the foot, probably they would have at least tied it.
I think they would have at least tied it. So I don't know if maybe this is Michigan's little scare and they're back on track. We'll have to wait and see. But before this, I definitely thought Michigan was the second best team in the country behind Georgia. From the eye test, they just looked like a better team than everybody else, except for Georgia. Right now, I don't know if anybody can beat Georgia, but we'll just sort of have to see here. We had Chattanooga, the Mocs at Alabama.
I think the train is off schedule because the Tide came in.
The Tide came
washed
in
it away.
66-10.
Jeez Louise.
Alabama done what they're supposed to do,
Absolutely, and
Nick Saban has them clicking
watch
on all
out
cylinders
for that SEC title game.
Alabama, Georgia. Now that is going to be something.
It's a rematch of the rematch
of the rematch. Okay, we had Louisville number 10 at Miami. We knew this was going to be a close one. I actually thought Miami was going to win this one.
And then
How many times had Louisville won in Miami before?
not very many.
Zero. They had none. Zero. They had won. Louisville had never won in Miami. So, but Miami just couldn't. Again, another game that came down to the wire.
And they fell apart.
They fell apart there in the fourth quarter.
And Louisville took advantage, and they are 10-1.
10-1 Louisville playing in the
ACC title game
against
Florida State. We will get to them later.
We will get to that later. We got Rutgers at Penn State. Penn State won 27-6.
Big game, James.
The game, it didn't. They won by 21, but it wasn't overwhelming. You know, they probably should have scored more points than
But
they
they did just fire their OC.
They fired their OC and they looked worse.
Big game, James.
So I don't know if it was the OC's problem or if it'll take them a game or two to get together. I don't know. We got University of Louisiana Monroe at Ole Miss, 35-3.
Took care of business.
Took care of business there. We had number 14 Oklahoma at BYU. BYU almost won this one.
And Oklahoma won with a 100-yard pick six.
How many games did we have that was 34-31, 38-31, 34-31,
Hey, it
24?
puts you on the edge of your seat a little more.
It puts you on the edge of your seat. But Oklahoma did what they needed to do. We had Minnesota at Ohio State. Ohio State scored 37, Minnesota 3.
Minnesota's not very good. Ohio State is a power.
They've got a good defense. They've got a really good defense. Again, I question the Ohio State's offense.
Ohio State's defense is allowing 9 points a game.
See, that's a good defense. And that does help out your offense who needs that extra time on the field to wear out the defense.
The defense, I want to give Ohio State, Ryan Day should give his defense a stake at the end of the year.
Yes, because they have carried this team.
When you only allow 9 points a game defensively,
even whoever you're playing, it doesn't matter. Yeah. We had a little Oregon at Arizona State, 49-13.
Bo Nix had 6 touchdowns in the first half.
Touchdown. I think he's like wanting to put his stamp on the Heisman now. He's saying, hey, over here, my name's Bo Nix. Look at me for Heisman, because he went out there and that was a Heisman performance.
That was Bojangles. He was Bojangling all over. He was
Bojangling all over that field. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if this game isn't mentioned at come Heisman time.
Yep.
Because
give that duck some bread.
6 touchdowns.
How about Oregon? Scary.
Oregon is scary. If Oregon slips up and gets into the playoffs,
Georgia might have a
little competition. Yeah. We had North Alabama, Florida State.
This was something else.
Florida State did what they were needed to do, 58-13, but it cost them.
I think really much so.
They lost their starting quarterback for the year.
With a really bad-looking leg injury. It looked really bad.
Yeah, he is gone, and he was a senior too, wasn't he?
Reminds me, it's really sad because it reminds me of Joe Hendon Hooker and how his last year ended.
And how he went down with that leg injury too.
It felt similar.
You wonder if Florida State, now the backup came in and looked good.
They put up 58 points, for heaven's sake.
They put up 58 points, but how good is Florida State without that starting quarterback?
It's up to their backup Rodemaker to ride them through the rest of the year.
There's not a lot of film on Rodemaker to stop him at this point.
And I feel like Florida is their next opponent, so.
Yeah, I don't think they'll have much of a problem with that. But, again, we'll have to just wait and see. We had Washington at Oregon State.
They passed the challenge.
22-20.
20. The Beavers gave him a tough time.
They did, yeah.
It was soaking wet.
It did nothing but rain, so it sort of slowed the scoring down. But it's still a good, interesting game. I mean, 22-20 is a good, interesting game. It was just rainy the entire game.
And rainy.
We had Florida, Missouri. Oh, my goodness. Florida should have won that game.
And then Florida's defense took a crap in their pants on the last drive.
They lost.
How do you give up a 4th and 25?
Asked Florida's defensive coordinator. I don't know how you give up a 4th and 25, but they did.
Missouri had the talent. Here comes the Uno reverse card. It's the Drinkwitz edition.
yeah. I said, oh, you think you're going to win? No. I'm going to make it on 4th and 25 and kick a field goal, and you lose.
That's painful.
Now Florida only has 5 wins.
And has to beat Florida
State to make a bowl.
That's just
You gave up a 4th and 25 and took you out of a bowl game for the year.
That's absolutely wrenching.
Crushing. That is crushing. We had Texas at Iowa State.
Offense
Texas
didn't perform very well, but the defense did.
26-16. Texas won that.
You give up 16 points. That's decent enough.
That's pretty good, especially when you're in Iowa State.
Yeah,
so that ain't too bad. We had our last top 15: Georgia State, LSU.
LSU continues to outscore the Pythagorean theorem right now.
Yeah, Daniels is wanting to put his foot on that Heisman too, so I think him and Bo Nix are fighting over
that should be
the
interesting
Heisman.
To see who wins that Heisman award. But Jaden Daniels is playing as well as any quarterback in the nation.
The only thing that might take LSU out of it is their 3 losses, where Oregon's only got the one. A lot of times they look at your wins just as much as they look at your talent, especially when your talent is really comparable to somebody else's. All right, that is it for Week 12. Let's jump into Week 13 and make some predictions. We have football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Thanksgiving week. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Gobble, gobble.
Happy Turkey Day. Thursday, we have top 15 football.
It's the Egg Bowl.
The Egg Bowl. Hey, how is that? We got the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving.
Is it the devil's kind?
Is it the Devil Egg Bowl? If so, I'll take some. Ole Miss at Mississippi State. Mississippi State's just canned their coach, didn't they?
And they're looking for a new one. And Ole Miss is looking for a 10-win season.
I think Ole Miss wins this. The line's 10. I think Ole Miss probably covers that.
They just got to block out the cowbells over there.
Yeah, you just got to. Now Mississippi State's going to be playing with every single thing they've got too, because what do they need? A win. Why?
To get into a big New Year's bowl.
And then Mississippi State needs a win or they don't get to a bowl.
Yep.
So this is going to be something. Mississippi State's 5-6. They need this to be 6-6 to make it to a bowl, and Ole Miss needs this for a New Year's Six game probably. So it's going to be interesting. I still think Ole Miss pulls it out. Friday we got a top 15 game. We got TCU at Oklahoma. TCU started out ranked this year and now are 5-6. They need this game to make a bowl game. How about that? TCU will probably not make a bowl game.
Oklahoma should get to their 10th win.
Oklahoma
today.
should get their 10th win.
Not quite today, but when Friday is
Friday,
today,
yeah.
Which is tomorrow. Which is not tomorrow, but the day after, and the day after, and the day after.
So anyways, I think Oklahoma pulls it out. The line's 10 on that one. We got number 9 Missouri, top 10 Missouri at Arkansas, who is going to keep their head coach. He got the vote of confidence.
That's the right decision.
That is right. I definitely think he's a good coach. Missouri's favored by 7.5. I think their defense. Missouri's a good team. I think they pull that out.
Missouri pulls out a 10-win season when Eli Drinkwitz is not controlling the offense.
Yes, Drinkwitz took the offense calling out of his hands and gave it to
Baby Moore.
Kellen Moore's little brother. Kellen Moore, the offense coordinator.
Probably
of
a
the
better play
Chargers.
caller than his older brother.
It looks like the talent went to the younger brother. Yes. Missouri again should pull that one. We got Texas Tech. Texas. This is always a shootout.
Yeah, there's always.
No pun intended.
Texas.
Texas should win it. They're 10-1, looking for an 11-win
season for the first time since like 2009.
Yeah, for the first time in 15 years for an 11-win season. So I do think Texas should win it. I don't know if I like the 12.5. Because Texas Tech Texas is. I might like Texas Tech plus 12.5, but I still think Texas pulls out the win on that one. We got number 12 Penn State at number 182 Michigan State.
Big game,
Big
James.
game, James. Favored by 21 over Michigan State.
Big game, James.
Big game,
yeah,
James.
he should win this game by default.
Yeah, I think the second game with the new offense in there would probably be better. I think they probably do pull Michigan State there. And then we have a fantastic game to finish out Friday. Number 11, Oregon State at number 6, Oregon.
Who claims the state of Oregon?
We are playing Oregon State, Oregon, and Oregon is favored by 13.5. I probably think they pull out. Oregon is firing on all cylinders right now. They're scoring 40, 50, 60 points a game. Now, Oregon State is not bad.
They're definitely not. They gave
They're
Washington problems.
They're an 8-3 team. Could have been a 9-2 team if they could have kicked a field goal against Washington. So I think they're good, but I think Oregon is that much better. I just do. All right, we got to talk about our Tennessee game. We're going to talk about it. It's one of the games on Saturday. We got Vandy, Tennessee. Tennessee's favored by 27. I think
we should win by default.
I think we'll probably win by 30.
Vanderbilt's not very good.
Vanderbilt is 2-9. They're
not very good.
They're terrible this year. We hope Tennessee finishes on a positive note here, get that 8-4, and get a chance to go to a bowl game. Win a good bowl game, be at 9-4. I'll take 9-4 for Tennessee all the time after the 14, 15-year dredge we went through from the mid 2000s up to about 3 years ago. So, still a super Tennessee fan. Go Vols! And the game of the week.
Ohio State, Michigan. Here we go. This is what I've waited for.
Ohio State 11-0. Ohio State versus 11-0 Michigan.
Who is the fraud here, Dad? In your opinion?
Michigan is favored by 3. This is the first time Michigan has been favored against Ohio State in 3 years.
Why do I say fraud? Because there's a lot of people criticizing Ohio State and Michigan schedules.
Yes, because the big win that Ohio State has is Notre Dame and Penn State. Notre Dame has turned out to be shaky at best, and Penn State just never beats Ohio State or Michigan.
Because it's big game, James.
So,
what do you expect that to build?
Ohio State's had 2 ranked games. Michigan has had 1 ranked game. Penn State, that's it. So neither one of them have really burner records. I mean, they played decent teams, but not really any highly ranked teams. So I'm going to go Michigan. I just think from the eye test,
Michigan's better?
Michigan's better. Now, not having a Harbaugh there could make a big difference. I mean, it did. It seemed to last week. I don't know if that was just Maryland having a good day or if that was Michigan missing a Harbaugh on the sidelines. But I'm going to think that Michigan is the same team that I've seen all year long, which means Michigan should win by 10-plus points. I think they're that much better than Ohio State. Again, Ohio State's defense is good, but their offense
lethargic at times.
Lethargic, and Michigan's defense is pretty. I'm really interested in seeing this game, but
it's probably going to be a low-scoring game.
But I do think Michigan should come out on top here. We got Kentucky 6-5 at number 10. Louisville 10-1.
Louisville should handle this one.
Yeah, Kentucky started out 5-0, and now they're 1-5 their last 6 games. So they're reeling a little bit. Louisville's favored by 7. I would probably take Louisville here too. We got Texas A&M 7-4 at number 15 LSU.
No Jimbo.
Jimbo Fisher is.
He's gone fishing.
He's took his $78 million.
And he's off.
I would probably take LSU. LSU's been just destroying people lately.
Scoring a bunch of points.
They're favored by 11.5. I think that's pretty capable of doing it there, yeah. We got the Alabama-Auburn game.
Oh, the classic Iron Bowl.
The Iron Bowl. Alabama is favored by 14.5. Auburn just lost 2.
New Mexico State.
Auburn just lost to New Mexico State. Auburn was favored by 27.5 points and lost.
How does that happen?
One of the biggest upsets in the history of college football, the history of the SEC.
How does that give me any hope that they beat Alabama?
They're not going to beat Alabama. Honestly, it's 14.5 points. I'm taking Alabama.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have that many points in the Iron Bowl. because normally Auburn will step up. But after last week, I can't trust
see it.
them. I can't trust them. I got to take Alabama minus 14.5. We got Washington State at Washington. Washington State's really not this good this year. Now they're playing for a chance at a bowl too,
And they have a juicy opportunity.
they got to beat Washington to get it.
They got a juicy opportunity, but
I don't think they do.
they don't have it.
I don't think Washington State has it. Again, they're not a terrible team, but they're not a great team. So we got Washington minus 16.5. We got number 4 Florida State, like we mentioned earlier, at a 5-6 Florida. Florida has to have this win, or
Billy Napier might be looking down the barrel of a
5-7 record
Jeez.
and no bowl games. The only thing that might keep him a job is he beat Tennessee. And if Florida beats Tennessee, normally the coach stays.
That's because that's a big game.
Because that's a big rivalry game, yeah. So I hope Napier gets another year. I would like to see what he does next year.
Are you saying that out of spite?
Yes, I am. I can't help it. But yeah, Florida State's favored by 6.5. I'm going to take Florida State. Honestly, the line should be probably 14.5, 17.5 if their starting quarterback was still in there. And the backup quarterback came in and looked so good. It's why I'm going to go ahead and take Florida State. And again, Florida has zero film except for that 2/3 of a game to stop him. So I'm going to go ahead and take Florida State. Plus, Florida just gave that game away last week. This may be a deflation because they gave everything they had at Missouri last week and missed it.
That's just deflating.
That is deflating. We got Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. It's a beatdown. I know.
Georgia
but
Tech's already got their 6th win, so they don't have to have this game.
It's clean old-fashioned hate. That's what
good,
this rivalry
clean
is.
old-fashioned hate. It is, yeah. So we will take Georgia minus 24 in that one. And that is it. That is our top 15 for the last week, the last regular season week of the college football. We'll be back next time to go over those games, and then we'll talk about some conference championship picks.
Stuff is on the line.
It is on the line now.
You better put your best up forward, or you're gonna fall out.
This week will determine the top 4 in going into the playoffs. Now, next year we get the top 12, actually the top 11 plus the highest ranked. I don't agree with it. But anyways, if you next year you can be in the top 11 and make it into the playoffs.
That's better than 4. Let's just take it for what it is.
I'm really looking forward to that because next year we would get to see Oregon in the playoffs. We would get to see those teams in the we would get to see Alabama and Oregon and all that. We would get to see those. Man, how fantastic would that be this year with the teams we got?
Oh, that would juice me. That would be juicy.
I'm really looking forward to that. But again, thanks again for stopping by. Thanks to SevereTV.com for setting us up here. Thanks again for Autographs Plus for setting us up with 2 cool autographs helmets here. Be sure to check them out. Christmas is coming pretty quick. They got stores in the Sevierville and Pigeon Forge, so go by and check them out. Other than that, we'll see you next week for some conference championship.
See you next week.